allowed myself time to think and absorb, which is a good thing. This is a beautiful place, and so much of it has been ruined, and there's still so many people living without power or water, people running out of medications, especially insulin, EpiPens. Oxygen is a huge deal. They can't have oxygen concentrators running without electricity. We have whole veterans homes, nursing homes, with no electricity to cook, no lights to see to do personal care, no supplies coming in for adult briefs, purified water for the infants and babies that I've been focusing on. People are using their disgusting water with sewage in it out of desperation to make baby bottles, and that's just going to cause so much sickness down the road. A month from now, there's going to just be so much.
You know, when people see a disaster like a hurricane, they watch videos of the storm, and then they see the aftermath the next day, and then for them, the story's over. The story's just over. A lot of people don't realize that the recovery process from a disaster like this could take years. And then after the recovery process is over, you have the rebuilding process. That could take years as well. But you see, right now, we're looking at a very terrible situation. You see, I think a lot of people may actually pass away from the after effects of Hurricane Helene. Also, I think we're going to start seeing outbreaks in the coming days and weeks, because as that woman said, you know, a lot of these people still haven't been given the help or the supplies that we need. And that's why everyone's so outraged by these roadblocks stopping supplies from coming in. Because now some people in some areas are so desperate that they're drinking whatever water they have access to, which in many cases is contaminated with sewage. And I hate to take it there, but you literally had bodies and stuff floating around in this water, and people are resorting to drinking it to stay alive. It's really disgusting when you think about it, but that's what's happening. That's how bad the situation is in North Carolina right now. And I'm not sure how many of you all are aware of this, but in the months leading up to the storm, North Carolina was already having a huge issue. They had a big outbreak of cyclospora, which is basically, it comes from people eating and drinking food and water that's been contaminated by feces. So you already had that outbreak going on in this area before the storm. So imagine what you're going to see now. You're going to see a lot of people having a lot of different illnesses. You're going to see outbreaks of dysentery. You're going to see a lot of stuff going on in this area. And that's why it's important that these people get the help that they need now. So they're not resorting to eating and drinking things that are going to make them even more sick, that are going to make the situation even worse, and then spread to other people. So, I mean, it's hard for us right now in the comfort of our own homes to put ourselves in these people's shoes. But imagine you lost everything. You lost literally everything. And you're on a freaking mountainside somewhere, and you can't even get down the mountain because the roads are blocked and the roads are destroyed. And you have to do what you have to do to survive. And that's what these people are doing. Unfortunately, though, a lot of the water and stuff they're using, it's no good. It is no good. And like she said, babies are being given this water. I don't even want to talk. You know what? I don't even want to get into it. It really makes me angry. Let's just go ahead and roll this clip. I think you get it. You heard what's going on. Let's roll this clip, and then I'll be right back with more.
So I'm here to give you guys another update about the disaster zone here in Asheville, North Carolina, and how dire the situation's becoming for some people. I'm going to just dive right into this, okay? I did a video about FEMA the other day, coming into one of the local, very large trailer parks in Candler and handing out MREs and bottles of water. I took so much heat from that video. So I'm here to tell you guys exactly what is going on here with this situation. How bad and how dire it is getting. Because now it is not safe to be in your house at night. FEMA came in, handed out MREs and bottles of water to this one specific, very large trailer park out in Candler. Here is the issues behind it. They used that as a photo op. That was not one of the harder hit areas that needed those supplies right when they decided to come and hand them out. There are still places over in the immediate disaster zone that I have friends living in apartment buildings and trailers that are in areas that were completely decimated. They're still without power. They don't have water. They have no way to cook fresh foods. They can't wash their clothes. They can't take baths. FEMA has not responded to those people. What FEMA has done is gone out into areas like Candler that were not that hard hit, that are easily accessible and never lost access to the main roads, that can get to donation sites, that can get to the grocery stores if they have money, that can still get out to go to work if they still have their jobs. Most people that lived over in East Asheville and worked over there lost their jobs permanently because the buildings were totally destroyed. That was number one that pissed me off with FEMA being out there. Number two was the fact that they used it as a photo op with my elderly coworker when they handed her 2 big cases of water that they should have never been handing her to make her stand there and hold for a picture. That's why I wanted to give you the context behind that video. And so many people are sitting here attacking anyone for telling the truth about what's going on here in Asheville that it's ridiculous. FEMA waited. They waited to come in and help because they wanted to get organized. Well, here we are, over 2 weeks later from this disaster. They finally go into Candler. I still have people in the immediate disaster zone that haven't been helped at all. They're not setting up donation sites over here. FEMA's not. But they're over here shutting donation sites down. Now, here's where it gets really, really dangerous for everybody. And this is where FEMA is causing a huge issue within our community. And it's not just FEMA. I understand people just do what they're going to do. But when they come in, like they did, I think it was yesterday or the night before, to one of the biggest donation distributions that we have in Candler at a very big church, Pole Creek Baptist Church, they told them that they were no longer allowed to accept donations. Hand out what you have and that's it. There was another site set up in Fairview, handing out canned foods, diapers, cleaning supplies, just like out here. And they were told, hand out what you have today, you're no longer allowed to come back and set up. They're not replacing that site. They are just shutting it down. Meanwhile, they're handing out MREs and special bottles of water that don't expire for 10 years. But they're shutting down all of the local donation sites that have fresh food, fruits, vegetables, diapers, cleaning supplies, all of that. That's causing a problem because the people that don't have any income right now, the people that don't have that moral boundary are now breaking into houses and looting. I'm a single mom. My company, I work for a fast food chain. I'm in the management. I have more than a handful of my stores in the immediate area with this one company that are shut down. That's hundreds of employees right now without paychecks. Hundreds of employees without paychecks. My last paycheck was $48. A lot of my friends and my family and my local community have to go to these donation sites that FEMA is shutting down and not replacing. They need the diapers, the fresh foods, the canned vegetables. They need that stuff to survive. But that's not what any FEMA group that has even touched Candler is handing out. They're just making sure we can't get it anymore. That is the problem with what is happening here in Asheville. They did not give us an immediate response like we needed. And now they're coming in and causing more harm than good. When you see the stories of people's roads getting washed out, bridges getting washed out, trees falling, all of the stuff, all of the cleanup that's been going on, that's not FEMA in here doing that either. That's the local country boys coming in with their heavy equipment, the community banding together and doing it themselves. The majority of the recovery efforts and the rescues were done by local community members or people who came in to help the local community, not FEMA. So when you see people saying bad things about FEMA, it's probably because FEMA has not handled this situation at all. And that should really piss a lot of people off, because God forbid that there is ever a natural disaster where you live, you're going to want that immediate response. You're not going to want a company to sit there and say, we need a couple weeks to get organized. That's not what you want. Your friends and your family and possibly even you will not make it through that experience if that's the case. If your local community cannot band together, you won't make it. So when this organization finally does get mobilized and they're out there and they're ready to help, and all they do is come in and take away the resources that you have for help, that's a big problem, y'all. It's a big problem that should open everybody's eyes. This situation here in Western North Carolina should be an eye-opener for the rest of the country. This situation and how this happened with these organizations needs to be fixed before the next major disaster. Florida right now didn't get hit quite as hard as they thought it was going to. There's still a lot of damage down there, a lot of people down there that need help. I really hope that FEMA steps up for them better and quicker and far more organized than they did for us. And I hope that they don't cause the same type of disaster that's happening here. At 3 o'clock yesterday morning, my dad woke me up. He lives next door. He said someone's messing around outside. The night before that, I had several neighbors on Facebook talking about how cargo vans pulled up into their driveways and they woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning to people looking through their windows. The night before that, there were more than 6 houses broken into within a mile stretch of mine. These people don't have the moral lines that we have, and I understand that, but they're also desperate. They're also desperate. And that sucks. My last paycheck was $48. I was doing everything that I could. I filed for unemployment. I filed for the FEMA disaster. I've gotten nothing. I had $48 on my last paycheck. I have no savings. My child's birthday is coming up. My bills are due. God forbid they start shutting down donation sites and we can't get the food that we need. Because there are thousands of us here. Thousands of us. And all FEMA has done is come in and made it worse for us. It's a problem. So y'all stay safe out there.
I am so glad she made that video, because this is something I've been trying to explain to people throughout like the last 15 videos. Because you see, people are criticizing FEMA, people are criticizing the response, and then the naysayers that rather believe the mainstream media and the government over their fellow citizens, they say, well, hey, look, FEMA's in town now. What are you talking about? And they'll show you a photo that's very obviously a staged photo shoot of like someone who works with FEMA smiling, doing a thumbs up next to like 16 bottles of water. And here's all the proof you need that FEMA is helping. No, they're freaking not. They've made the situation worse. And yes, they've come into certain areas, but like I've explained in past videos, and like that woman just explained, they're going to areas that aren't as affected, okay? They're not going to the areas that are cut off from the world. They're not going to the areas that received the most devastation, if you will. They're posting up in areas that aren't that affected, okay? And there's political reasons behind it as well. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but there's a reason why they're choosing to, oh, we'll help some of you all, but screw you guys. There's a reason behind all of that as well. But yeah, most of it is about photo shoots. It's about looking good. It's about, you know, it's like people who are like addicted to social media and they show you this beautiful life that they're living on Instagram, but really they're not living that life. That's what FEMA's doing right now. We're going to show photo shoots, making it look like we're doing everything we can when we're not. And I've caught FEMA multiple times already since Hurricane Helene. They share photos acting as if it's them helping, when in reality it's volunteer teams doing the work. So they are taking pictures of volunteer teams out here rescuing and saving people, and they're posting them up as if it's FEMA agents or it's FEMA workers doing this. And that's not the case. And that is absolutely freaking disgusting. They're sharing photos of like police officers, firefighters, random, just volunteers doing things, and they're acting like, oh, all of this is credited to FEMA. No, it's not. No, it is not. And another thing that she said that I haven't had a chance to go over, a lot of people are without work right now. And they're without work because the places they worked were wiped off the map, utterly destroyed. What are these people going to do for money now? So in many ways, what these government agencies are doing, they're coming in, and yes, they're making the situation worse, but worse than you can imagine, because it seems as if they're almost pitting people against each other. Oh, this side of town, this apartment complex gets help, but y'all don't. You know what I mean? So is there going to be animosity growing between the people who aren't getting help and the people who are? And they're coming in and they're shutting down these supply zones who are actually supplying good things like fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, actually healthy foods in some cases. And FEMA's coming in like, we're going to all give you these government issued water bottles that expire in 10 years. We're going to give you, food that we give soldiers who are fighting in the middle of the desert. You know what I mean? Instead of fresh foods and stuff like that. They want to have control over the situation. It's so utterly disgusting and sickening. There's not a single reason why any donation zone should be shut down. Not in a situation like this. I don't care about rules and regulations. You got people drinking sewage water. Okay? You got babies drinking freaking sewage water. Anything is better than that. Anything at any donation zone is better than that. I don't give a fuck about rules and regulations. I'd rather have the water bottle that Danny from down the street donated as opposed to the sewage water or whatever the hell you're cooking up in your 10-year freaking water bottles that you got going on that have been sitting Lord knows where for Lord knows how long. It's crazy. It's crazy, folks. And we are so far out from this storm now. It's been a couple of weeks. Why are we still having this conversation? Why do I still need to be making these videos? Why can't they get their ish together? I understand Rome wasn't built in a day. I know that things aren't going to get better overnight, but as I've explained in past videos, there's definitely a better way to handle all of this. There's got to be. But for now, you let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. Because right now, I'm just happy that we have people speaking out, verifying what I've been reporting all along. But while you're down there, letting me know what you think about this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up. It's very important. Make sure you share this video on social media. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.